Hi, thank you for joining me today, and in today's video I wanted to use Jen Hadfield's Stardust collection again, and I also wanted to use some of my Shimmers, Paints, Vibes to create a mixed media background. So I started off with hot fudge there and just added a few squirts of the hot fudge and then went in with deep blue sea because I want to focus on the brown of James's t-shirt in this photo and the blue on the camera. This was his second birthday present, this kiddie zoom camera, and he absolutely loved it, but he didn't quite get the hang of which way round to look through the lens, which gave us loads of amusement. It took a little while before he sussed it. So I've trimmed the 4x6 photo down to square, so 4x4, and I'm just going to map this onto some white cardstock, just some scrap white card, before matting it onto that blue paper. I did think about going straight onto the blue paper, but for some reason it just felt that it would look better with a little white border, so that's what I'm just creating here. And going in with my double-sided tape just to stick that down, and then I should just use my scissors to trim around it. And in this collection I've only got the 6x8 paper pad, so I'm just making do with what I've got for now. I do love it though. I might end up going and grabbing some 12x12 papers as well. We've still got lots in the shop. So just sticking this down onto that blue, and then I'll trim around the edges and then tear the bottom just to add a little bit more texture. And today I really want to have a play with my hexagon punch. I've definitely not made enough use of that, and I love hexagons, so it's great for using pads because you're just using small parts. So just tearing, as I say, tearing the bottom there, and then I'll trim that top branding strip off. And there's the photo matted. I was just doing this while I left those sprays to dry. They really don't take very long at all to dry, those Shimmers Vibes. They're absolutely gorgeous. And they have that beautiful shimmery effect, of course, as in the name. And that hot fudge dries almost like a bronze colour. It's not too dark. You can see there, it's just beautiful. And I wasn't too bothered where I squirting, more or less in the middle of the card, because I knew that a lot of this was going to be covered by the hexagons that I'm creating. So just pulling out some of the different papers now to create these hexagons, and using a lot of the scraps. Decided to use the green end of that striped paper rather than the pink. But I do come in with some pinks on this page. The oranges and pinks work beautifully together. So, and just selecting different ones. I end up doing 7 hexagons for this page. I love that sage green, it's beautiful. And all these colours work so nicely together. Brilliant for a boy's page, even though they've got florals on them. It doesn't bother me at all. I really love the colours. So almost there now with my punching. I think there's just a couple more to be done. Just having a look to see what else I've got and work out which colours I want to add. And I decided to bring in another one of this one with the rainbows because I really do love those colours in that. Like I say, it's like an orange background with these pink rainbows on, and the pink really makes the orange stand out. It's beautiful. So just having a play with the placement. I know I want them to go from the top right down diagonally ever so slightly to the bottom. So now I've got the positioning there. I'm going to take each hexagon up and distress the edges with my Tim Holtz Distress Edger and then glue them back in place. So there's the first one done. I won't make you watch me doing all this because it feels very, very repetitive. But just to get an idea, just roughing up the edges of each of the hexagon and then gluing them down with my wet glue. And there's the last one going down now. So now they're down, I can start looking at embellishing. I knew as soon as I saw this sticker sheet that I wanted to use this blue oval that says I love you so much. But I did struggle where to put it at first. I got there in the end. But I had to have a little play. So the easiest way to do that is just cut it off the backing paper so that you can move it around your layout. Or you could add talcum powder onto the back. I've seen people doing that as well. And then gluing it down with wet glue after. So now having a look through the 6x8 sticker sheet, just to remind myself really what's in it, and then I can work out what I want to add to the page. So first of all, I decide I need to commit to where this is going before I can start embellishing the rest, because that is the main piece. It's the title for this page. So I want to make sure I'm happy with where it's going. And now I'm bringing in some of the the printables from Hey Little Magpie, and this set is, I think it's My Story. And those colours work really nicely with this Stardust collection. So just pulling out a couple of bits, one that says Shine, and then a label, a round label to layer it up with. So I'm committing to that title now, and it's going in that bottom left hand corner, and I will build up my embellishment cluster around that. So just positioning these, deciding where I want them to go, and then adding an epoxy to, these are the naked epoxy flares that we sell at Hey Little Magpie, just adding that to that shine button. And I love these tags, they're a great addition to any page. So just choosing one that I think will work with this photo, and I go with the one that says yeah. So I'm going to nestle out the left hand side of that I Love You So Much foam sticker, and then I'll add some wax twine that goes off the left hand side of the page. So just using a tiny hole punch to get that hole in there, and then bringing in some of this grey wax twine. And as I say, I'll just thread that through the hole and then bring it off to the left of the page and wrap it round the back and secure it just with some double-sided tape. Just checking that I'm happy with the positioning. I wanted it towards the bottom of that oval. Untwisting it. Always gets twisted. And then, like I say, just securing that onto the back of the page. Cutting off the edges once I'm happy. And I will keep those ends because they'll work for something else. So now I'm just going to glue down those labels that I've added, the label and the flare. And then I'm coming in with my journaling. And my journaling simply reads, we got you this kid's camera for your second birthday. You were absolutely thrilled with it, but using it is going to take practice looking at this snap. And then the date, which was 17th of June 2009. So back into this sticker book now, and I'm going to start bringing some of those stickers in to really add some embellishments around the page, starting with this heart, which I end up putting down there. It sometimes takes a little while to work out where I'm going to go with a page, but once I get going, I can see where things are going. So I love these holographic silver stars. So just dotting a few of those around. And then I love that rainbow with the blues in it, so I add that above that yeah tag. Another silver star, so that's 3 that I've got around the page now. And then I find some word strips, and this one says laugh out loud, which we really did when we saw him using it like that. I was so determined. And then another one that just says happy, and I do end up moving those shortly, but I know I want to use those words on the page, so. Couple more scattering bits. These are those 4 pointed stars, like a starburst. So a couple of those on the page towards the bottom. And then I want to use one of these oval frames. I don't want the flowers to show, so I'm just deciding where to tuck it in. First I think at the top there, but it disrupts the hexagons too much, so I decided to tuck it behind that I Love You So Much. And I really like the layering effect that gives. So back through again, and I remember these strips at the end, and I decided to use this half piece that I had left over from a previous layout. So I'm just going to move those word strips and tuck it underneath that round label from the Hey Little Magpie printables. And I like how that extends the page off to the right. We've got that wax twine extending it off to the left, and that just brings everything along the right. So at first I think the words are going underneath that, but then I decide to layer them on top of that label next to the I Love You So Much, and that means that all of my embellishments are focused around that bottom left-hand corner. And that sort of takes away some of that stark whiteness from that label as well, which is nice. So a quick flick through to see if there's anything else, and I spot this lol. So that gets added again to the bottom where that tag is. And then some banner flags at the top. just to finish it off at the top there. I felt like that hexagon was just hanging about loose on its own and needed something to anchor it. So I like layering those at different heights. Now coming in with some scattering pieces. So these are the beautiful enamel dots that they've got in the Stardust collection. All different shapes. There are stars, hearts, and those 4-pointed starburst pieces. So just choosing various colours, focusing on the mustard greens and adding those all the way through that diagonal shape that we've got going on. They're a bit fiddly because some of them are really quite small. So just having a mess, deciding exactly where I want to put things. A few more, I think. And then I decide that I want to come in with some shimmers just to add some splatters at the end. So this is Here I Am shimmer, and I'm just adding some water so that I can add the splatters. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed this. Do have a look at that Stardust collection from Jen Hadfield. It's absolutely beautiful, and it matches so well with all these retro collections that we're seeing coming through from Simple Stories. So well worth a look. Thanks again for joining me, and I shall see you again very soon. Bye.